Tennessee Titans fans, NFL draft nerds, welcome in. It has been a whirlwind of the last few days for Tennessee Titans fans, obviously. Brian Callahan is still the head coach, but Rand Carthen is no longer the top personnel man in Tennessee. They're going to be searching for a new football executive. They're going to be searching for a new quarterback. Please ignore the fact that, we've got Tony Baselli, Mark Brunell, and Fred Taylor behind me. I am doing my very best here to try to come up with a plan that will get the Tennessee Titans headed back in the right direction after earning the number one overall pick in the first year under Brian Callahan. In the first year after Rand Carthen spent a ton in free agency to improve this football team, the Titans still end up at the bottom of the league with the worst record, swept by the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is atrocious considering how poor the Jaguars were in 2024. So we're going to try to get this back on track in Tennessee. And I'll tell you what, right now, I do not believe the Tennessee Titans should be drafting either of the top quarterbacks available in the 2025 NFL draft. I don't think Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward are deserving of being top 5 picks, of being first overall picks. And with that in mind, I think the Titans should be searching for a veteran stopgap option and hoping that they can get on the quarterback game next year, have a decent season this year, try to push things forward, build that foundation, and then go all in on a young quarterback the following season. I think in 2026, that NFL draft, there's a really good chance that there are some incredibly enticing quarterback options. So we're not going to over leverage ourselves this year, get rid of future draft capital, right? We're going to try to save all that draft capital and go get our quarterback, our franchise quarterback in Tennessee in 2026. Now, for the time being, again, we're going to go try to get a quarterback we can win with in 2025 to get things rolling in the right direction, to get out of the cellar, right? And because the Titans, under my leadership, are not taking a quarterback with the top pick, I think it would be incredibly enticing to potentially trade down. Who could they trade down with? Maybe the Giants would want to jump the Browns to get their QB1. I think an even more realistic possibility is that the Las Vegas Raiders are interested in trading all the way up to 1 because they have their eyes on a quarterback, Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, whoever it may be. And so I think that that's where we're going to go here. We're going to start this mock draft. Tennessee Titans are on the clock, have a trade offer from New England for some reason. That doesn't really make sense. I think the Patriots should be potentially looking to trade down as well, and the Panthers. But we're going to try to strike a trade with the Las Vegas Raiders here. I think moving down, acquiring more draft capital, because again, right now the Titans, they only have 2 picks in the top 100. We need some more high leverage, high value draft capital to help this team get going in the right direction, right? So Las Vegas Raiders, they're at 6, Titans are at 1. What else do we need? We need the 2nd round pick. We need a 3rd round pick. And NFL mock draft database is saying that is not enough. I personally think it would be getting the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, right? From the Raiders. Add a 4th in there. And then we'll add a future pick that's not actually legitimate. So just to get this thing to go through. So we're getting a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round pick for the 1st overall pick to move down 5 spots. Not bad. Not bad in my opinion at all for a team that, again, is not looking to draft a quarterback here. There's going to be other quarterback options on the free agent market, potentially Derek Carr, who, don't love Derek Carr's game. He's an average starting quarterback in the NFL, but you've also got guys like Jameis Winston potentially. Justin Fields could be an interesting option if you're trying to take a swing on a guy who still has upside, who was playing fairly well for the Steelers before Russell Wilson returned from injury. And here at number 6, we are going to take one of my top 3 prospects, top 4 prospects. Abdul Carter, the edge out of Penn State, who is just an unbelievably physically gifted athlete who transitioned from linebacker to edge this year, and he did so with flying colors. It was a little bit of a slow start, but once he got into Big Ten play, Abdul Carter's explosiveness, bend, and overall athleticism combined with his development with his hands, his tenacity on the football field, it just shined, and he had a fantastic year. I think his arrow is pointing sky high. I think Abdul Carter paired with Jeffrey Simmons, paired with Tavondre Sweat, and also your other edge guys, I think it's a home run for the Tennessee Titans to trade down and still get the best edge player in the class at 6 overall would be a coup. Moving in the right direction here. And now 35 and 37 overall. This is a great spot to be, close to the top of round 2. There's been a lot of simulations I've run where our guy Emeka Ibuka is still available. He's not here, so not going to be addressing receiver, but Tyler Booker is available. I would love this pick for them. Continuing to just build a dominant offensive line is always a good way to go. And they've invested heavily at offensive line with Latham, with Skoronski, going and getting Booker. So you now have 3 guys plus Lloyd Cushenberry coming back from injury. Now all you need after you get Tyler Booker is potentially a right tackle, right? And then you have a young, talented, physical offensive line. I would absolutely love that for them. Yeah, we've got some trade offers here. I don't think we really need to move back, although that's kind of an insane offer there from the Saints. I don't think it's realistic. At 37 here, a lot of different directions we could go. And hey, you could say, Jalen Milroe, if he's available in this spot, is that a player we should be looking at as a developmental quarterback? I think he's too far off to really get excited about that. But it's something to consider, certainly. It absolutely is. But I would love to add Armand Membu to play right tackle. And then that line is shored up. That line is locked and loaded. Latham, Skoronski, Cushenberry, Booker, Membu. I would absolutely be fired up about that if I was a Tennessee Titans fan. Not fired up about it for the Jaguars. And you have couple good running backs that you feel excited about moving forward. You have Calvin Ridley, who overall I think is certainly a net positive. Westbrook Akine was a touchdown machine this year. Tyler Boyd up there in age, obviously. But so I think we could get younger at receiver. All those guys are up there. We could be targeting, I love Jaden Higgins in this spot. I also love Tez Johnson, Matthew Golden. These are guys I would be considering here. And Savion Williams is a really fun player. He's kind of in that Cordero Patterson type of mold, in my opinion. I'm not saying he's Cordero, but can do a lot of different things for you on the offensive side of the ball. But to me, Jaden Higgins would be such a good, solid, like rock solid pick here. I have him as a 2nd round grade. Getting him at 73 overall, I think would be tremendous. Starter on the outside for a long time at Iowa State. He is physical. And at 6'4", 215 pounds, he moves really well. He's not a burner by any stretch of the imagination, but as a route runner, as someone who releases off the line of scrimmage, there's no wasted movement. He can sink his hips and get in and out of breaks, again, for such a big guy. And then you also talk about the physicality he uses as a route runner, and it's not using the hands to extend, right? It's using the elbows, the shoulders, leaning, getting guys going in the wrong direction and then exploding off in the other direction, whether it's an in-breaking route or out-breaking route. And a guy that has unbelievable ball skills, body control, explosiveness, and length to go up and get the football in contested catch situations. He does not drop the easy ones. You're talking about somebody who can be really reliable for you, a chain mover extraordinaire who I think can also be a downfield threat thanks to his ability to get vertical and go up and get the football at its highest point. So we're stacking a really impressive class here, with 4 picks in the top 73 here, and then now 5 in the top 102. This is starting to look like a transformational class for Tennessee. And again, you didn't get the quarterback. I don't think that there's really a quarterback to be had unless Drew Aller changes his mind. And then we could start talking about that discussion potentially. You look at corner, obviously, Chidobe Awuzie, you also brought in L'Jarius Sneed, so you've spent a lot there. And I think that Roger McCreary's a nice young player still. I don't know that you go in that direction. I think safety is a position that has a lot of value in this draft class because of the depth of the position and the devaluation of the position from a monetary standpoint. So you look at some of these guys. Andrew Makuba is an incredible playmaker who can play in the slot, can play safety for you. Not the biggest guy out there, but just unbelievable instincts. Zone coverage player. I think he can also run man against smaller, slot receivers. Running backs out of the backfield, even some tight ends, as long as it's not just an absolute physical mismatch there. But the move tight ends, Kamari Ramsey would be another really fun one. And, I'm a huge fan of Amani Hooker. Quandre Diggs is obviously there. He's up there in age. So I think getting a safety at this spot does make a lot of sense for them. It would just be a pick your flavor type of thing. And I think Makuba offers more as a pass defender than Kamari Ramsey does. So that's the direction we would go here. Texans offering a trade. We're not accepting no trade from the Texans in the AFC South. What are we doing here? Okay. I know at needs it still says offensive tackle here, but Armand Membu, there's no reason to move him inside, in my opinion. He is absolutely going to be a offensive tackle in my mind. Jared Ivey, great rotational player early on. I think he would be in his career. Big physical athlete, got good length and strength, can set the edge, but also some real pass rush versatility as well. Darius Alexander is really fun. Howard Cross has been super reliable across his career. At this point in the draft, we're trying to find the best values we can. We're trying to find guys that can make the roster and make an impact because the draft is a crapshoot, right? But it's especially a crapshoot on day 3. So you're just trying to find good, talented football players that can make your football team, maybe improve your special teams, and find roles. I think Zy Alexander at this point in the draft is a really good value. I think he needs to probably be primarily a zone corner with his eyes in the backfield, but he can do that at a high level. He played really well for LSU this year. I think the one thing he's lacking is elite long speed. Like he's got the size, the length, the instincts. So to take him at this spot, I think makes a lot of sense. And looking at the linebacker position, went out and spent on Kenneth Murray, but the man who did that is no longer in Tennessee, right? So I think there's some options here that we could look at. I think Barrett Carter, he declared for the draft out of Clemson. That would be a nice flyer to take to try to get a long-term starter in there at linebacker. I like Cedric Gray as well, who they drafted this past year. Now, at this point, would you want to take a flyer on Jackson Dart? I think it would be appropriate to take one at this point on Jackson Dart. I know that Brian Callahan with the spread offense, he can get you there a little bit. He can make it a little bit easier for you. I think Jackson Dart coming from this Ole Miss Lane Kiffin offense, it does not project well to the NFL, but if there's an offense, maybe it could have some translatability a little bit there. I think Jackson Dart, if he was to fall to this spot, which I doubt he will, but if he does, this would be a home run. And then if he wasn't available, I think Dylan Gabriel would be a really solid selection here because I think he's someone that can start games in the NFL. He's not going to be a long-time starter, but I think he can be one of those 10, 15-year backups that does it at a high level. He just doesn't have the arm strength, in my opinion, the arm talent to really be a high-impact guy as a starting quarterback in the NFL. But as a backup, I think he could be one of the best in the league, quite frankly. So either of those guys I would be fine with. I think Jackson Dart has a little bit more high-end upside So I'm fine with taking a swing there. And, if you find a diamond in the rough there in Jackson Dart, maybe you don't need to get a quarterback next year. You never know. That's the beauty of this thing. Again, trying to extract value at this point in the draft. I think Jack Besh, extreme value here. Jalen Knoll is a good value. There's always value to be had at wide receiver with the way these classes are coming. There's just so much depth consistently. I know Davison Igbinosun is a name, but he is a pass interference magnet. Bottom line. Malachi Moore is a player I've been a fan of. I think he's a little underrated as a do-it-all secondary player. Safety, nickel, star, whatever it may be. He's done a lot for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Darius Alexander's still on the board. Bring him in. I think that he is just really difficult to block as a rotational guy behind Devondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons. He's just too good of a talent to pass up on there. And, we could address running back at some point here. Obviously, love Tyjae Spears, Tony Pollard, but are you going to want to pay Tony Pollard after this contract? Maybe you get somebody in here younger so you can have a two-headed monster that is on cheaper deals. And I think Kyle Monungai is just a fantastic running back that deserves to go much higher than this. I don't think he has the long speed, but he has everything else I think you could ask for. So we get Kyle Monungai at 177. Final pick of the draft for the Titans is going to be at 240. We'll see what's available when we get there. I think wide receiver is probably going to present the most value. Love Daniel Jackson at this spot, who I think can be a move Z/slot receiver at the next level. Continue to develop that pipeline at receiver. Would be a big fan of that. So a ton of picks here for the Titans. Ton of picks. 6 in the top 107. Abdul Carter at number 6. Truly, the potential to be truly dominant at edge. Tyler Booker and Armand Mimbu locking down the right side of that offensive line. Jaden Higgins adding some real talent at receiver. Andrew Makuba, Zay Alexander, Barrett Carter, Jackson Dart, Darius Alexander, Kyle Monungai, and Daniel Jackson are all just really good values at those spots, in my opinion. If you're a Titans fan, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Draft nerds, also let me know what you think about what I did for the Titans here, how I could have improved, what I did well, what I maybe stunk it up at. Let me know. Comment section below. Really appreciate y'all supporting the channel. Have a good one.